back in 2018, we started drawing Digital Egypt strategy, which then was aiming to render government services and entitlements to all our citizens in an inclusive, well-governed, and smooth fashion. So we started by building and tying up all the databases of the Egyptian government. We have over 100 databases that resides in different government agencies, and it was imperative to tie them all together in order to generate a 360 digital picture of the Egyptian citizen that can help us come closer to our citizens and then serve them much more efficient and better. Then we started by building a platform that is Digital Egypt platform. Now we have over 170 government services, fully automated, that are offered on that platform. It was very important to streamline the people, the processes, and the performance in order to be able to generate the services in a way that is inclusive and well-governed in the meantime. The second phase that we're busy within now is to reconstruct the entire ecosystem in Egypt to be able to render multi-stakeholder services that are citizen-centric. So we're done with automating the bouquet of services of the Ministry of Justice, for instance, whom I have the honor of the presence of my colleague, His Excellency Mustashar Omar Marwan, the Minister of Justice in Egypt, who is my partner in this success. Now we are rather in the phase of building a multi-stakeholder, multi-platform set of services that are all centric around one homogeneous goal. For instance, we have the social services, we have the education, we have the judicial services, we have the social protection. These are services that are rendered by more than one ministry or government agency, yet we're going to streamline them all together so that these multi-stakeholders are invisible to the citizen, and he or she can receive the service seamlessly. In parallel, we're also very focused on more and more capacity building projects. 5 years ago at MCIT, we were responsible for training 4,000 citizens every year. This year, we're aiming for 400,000. So 100 folds in just 5 years that we've leapt forward. We're more and more focused on expanding our skill pool in order to make sure that the ecosystem is inclusive to all citizens.
And what are the main challenges you're facing in this path?
Several challenges. To begin with, as I said, the streamline of the priority of rendering the services to our citizens. In the meantime, make sure it is well governed, that the processes are automated, re-engineered, but they are kept intact because there is wisdom behind this, behind these processes. Second, and equally important, is the trust of our citizens in the system, that it is efficient, it is effective, and it is inclusive for everybody to exploit and benefit from.
Yes, thank you, Your Excellency. I want to talk also with you, Your Excellency, Mr. Al-Masmar, with the UAE experience, because UAE is leading the way of digital transformation and ranks, I think, 13th globally according to the UN indicators. So what lessons can we learn from this experience, amazing experience, and what factors contribute for this success story?
Thank you. It's true. We ranked 13, the e-government development index of the UN reports. The good part is half of the Arab countries are ranked high. and which is an excellent performance, and we hope we all jump to the very high rank. What we have, the place where we have reached, it's attributed to several key factors. Bold vision and leadership. That is very important. Without it, you don't have a compass in which direction you're going. The creation of centralized governance, that's TEDRA, Telecommunication and Digital Government Regulatory Authority, whom entrusted for the digital transformation and regulating the telecommunications sector. It helps to focus all the efforts in the development and the implementation of the vision set by the government. Investment in infrastructure. You will notice that the UAE invests heavily. That's what we have, one of the best state-of-the-art networks, namely from fiber to the home, 98% connected. We've got 5G coverage, 98% outdoor coverage throughout the country. That built the basis, the platform where the services that you are enjoying today are delivered to you with excellent high quality. We do focus on innovation. We pay a lot of attention to that. You see, technologies is available everywhere, but who uses it to their benefits? Who make sure that these technologies, it could be a tool that we can deliver an excellent services to our resident. Public and private collaboration, that's public and private collaboration. We very much engage with the private sectors, academia, businesses. They have expertise, resources, of which we rely on in developing our strategy, in developing our networks, and be able to offer state-of-the-art services. We do participate in international forum. It's a great opportunity to learn from others. No matter how excellent you are, there will always be something missing, and you will find it somewhere else. It's good to learn from others and share your experiences. Upskilling and reskilling. It's very important for the workforce as well as the public. If you don't know how to use the service, then what the use of investing in developing all this infrastructure? If you are not using the service, there won't be any data generation, of which we cannot then build on and have AI and so forth. So it's all connected. And that's why TEDRA today has digital virtual academy, where we offer a lot of training to the government employees. Other entities, they offer also for the public, and these are available free of charge. We do focus on talent, and one of the initiatives, the Golden Visa, it attracts talents, and those play a big role in bringing lots of ideas. Challenges to export our experience to other countries. Nothing is impossible. Financial matters, yes. Maybe the UAE, God bless her with wealth. We managed to use it wisely. There are other countries that have a lot of resources, but it's not being well used. That is one element. The other is the culture and social context. It's very important when you build a strategy, digital transformation strategy. You have to take into consideration the cultural context. Without it, it will not be sustainable. You can't use something from the shelf, use somewhere else, and you just apply it. One size fits all does not work in this business. And I think I've tried to wrap as much as possible.
Yeah, thank you very much, Your Excellency. I can't help but notice that Professor Sis Mustafa was nodding. I think, what's your opinion about how can government navigate and prepare policymakers and also citizens into these changes and opportunities affected by the transformation, digital transformation, and what role also play education into equipping and preparing workforce and also policy making bodies for these changes?
Thank you very much for your question. I was nodding because the UAE is getting many things right, and I hope that many countries, including ours, also follow and learn from some of the lessons that we're seeing here. Well, I think the answer to your question depends to a large extent to what we mean by transformation. Because if we're thinking about a transformation, a digital transformation that's coming upon us, that's manufactured somewhere, and packaged and shipped to a certain population, and that they have to use it to improve whatever their living conditions is, the answer would be different from a digital transformation that is manufactured from within the society that is of interest. These are two very different situations, and I think that they lead to very different strategies and very different outcomes. Because the same tools, from a technological and scientific perspective, the same tools are used to do different things depending on where you are. The very same architectures and neural networks and algorithms, as far as AI is concerned, for example, that are used for creating self-driving cars in the United States, because it's an important challenge there, the economic need is there, are the ones that are used to detect crop disease or diagnose cancer in other places, for example in Africa, where the health needs are very pressing. Mm-hmm. So context matters. It matters a great deal, and I believe technology cannot be detached from the environment in which it is built. So to ensure that the benefits of such technology arrive globally and that this digital transformation brings the fruits and the positive impact to society, education is very important. Mm-hmm. Because when you endow the populations with the skills so that they can build the right technology to solve the right problems, the problems that they have, the pressing challenges they live on a daily basis, then the kind of transformation you end up having is very different from the one that you would have if you just imported the technology and asked people to use it to solve whatever challenge they have. And that's why I was actually nodding when His Excellency was mentioning education and investment in innovation. Mm-hmm. I think a central role governments have in Africa, because that's where I come from, is to shape the regulatory framework and the entrepreneurship environment in a way that makes it conducive of this innovation. But at the same time, to create the education infrastructure so the population can have the tools and the skills in order to bring that change and that digital transformation about. Those are my 2 cents to your question. Thank you.
Yes, I think I want also to move this point to you, Your Excellency, Dr. Talat, but also I want to ask you how to make sure that this digital transformation strategies are inclusive to all citizens, especially the difference between rural and urban populations, and to avoid the digital divide.
Right. I believe this is imperative to achieve what we call digital justice. And the vision we laid out at the beginning was that Digital Egypt must be for all Egyptians, or maybe as the SDGs of the UN mentions, leave no one behind.
Yeah.
So when we started designing the platform where the government services are going to be availed and rendered, we decided that there has to be more than one channel so that it is inclusive for all Egyptians categorically. We started with a digital platform and a mobile application for IT savvy, for IT savvy citizens. And then we also included the possibility of receiving the services and entitlement through the post offices throughout the country. In Egypt, we have a very well-established post organization that dates back 160 years and enjoys the trust of all Egyptians, especially in rural areas, with a very, very wide footprint of over 4,500 offices across the country. So we included in the design of the system the possibility of receiving all those services and entitlements via the post offices for the categories and segments of our citizens who do not prefer to deal directly with technology. Those who do not want to deal with technology and do not want to run an errand to the post organization can still receive the services via a hotline that all Egyptians now know, where you can call and verify yourself and receive the services. Also, the payment methods relevant to the services are multiple that would include all segments of our people. For rural areas, which you rightfully mentioned, this is very important because, as maybe my friend Engineer Maged was stressing, the importance of a robust digital infrastructure, we're following the same approach. We enhanced our infrastructure, our digital infrastructure in all urban areas. Egypt, for the past 5 years now, ranks #1 in Africa in average fixed internet speed. Also for rural areas, we have a mega project in Egypt that we call Decent Life. Decent Life project aims to avail the services to our citizens residing in rural areas that would ensure a decent life. And the most important point here, in my view, is that when the government of Egypt decided what are the services that are imperative for our citizens to enjoy a decent life, we made sure that this includes high-speed internet. So it's electricity, it's clean water, it is a reliable
infrastructure,
and a high-speed internet. And now we are expanding our infrastructure, our fiber optic infrastructure, throughout around 5,000 villages where around 60 million citizens are living that will enjoy high-speed internet in the next few years, already started as Decent Life project continues. In addition, we're very focused on expanding the talent, as I said, and the talent pool. We started a project that we call Creativa Centers. Creativa Centers are training centers that serve also as incubators for innovation and entrepreneurs. We started by having 6 governorates in Egypt. Governorates, muhafazat, as we call them, are the administrative divisions of Egypt. This was 5 years back, and we continued expanding on the project. Now we have 20 out of 27 governorates, and inshallah in 2024 we'll inaugurate 8 more in order to have 1 training center and an incubator and an innovation center in each and every governorate to ensure that whomever wants to receive further training, enhance his or her skills, or has an idea that warrants incubation, we're ready to receive him or her.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to stay with the inclusivity issue with you, Your Excellency, Mr. Majed Al-Masmar. And I want to ask you how governments can steer the digital transformation through the machine learning and AI to foster societal adaptation, but also to preserve the ethical issues and the standards, and also keep an eye on widening these digital inequalities.
That's a wish list. It's not an easy task to align with all of these. To be able to benefit from the AI, machine learning, ensure it's ethical, diverse. But still, you have to develop clear, inclusive strategy. That is, identify your goals and the output of AI integration to the vertical services. For example, health sector, education, and so forth. What do you need out of it, having AI there? Stakeholder engagement include in developing that strategy the businesses, the citizen, the resident in that country, the civil society groups that will ensure diverse perspectives. Inclusivity. Don't forget the marginal groups. You have to look for their needs in order to breach the digital divide. Ethical, you need to invest in responsible AI development. You need ethical guidelines that really protects and uphold human rights, fairness, and non-discrimination. You can't go without such guidelines and rules. Transparency and accountability. Promote transparency in algorithm and decision making. Every process that involves decision making, you need to understand how the algorithm works. You need to audit it. Don't just take that application or that product from the shelf and apply it. You need to understand if you want to ensure the ethical part. Foster digital literacy. Of course, you need to invest on capacity building for everybody. you want everyone to use these services. Otherwise, with the use of AI, it would be meaningless. If we are really migrating to digital economy, I would like everyone to contribute to that economy. We need to address algorithmic bias and fairness. Audit and regulate and assess that algorithms for potential bias. It's a complete cycle. You need to launch a service, and you need to keep monitoring it. Get the feedback and see the impact of it. Go back again, customize, redevelop it to really suit the customers in a way that really protects their needs. Mm-hmm. Diversity in data development. You need to promote it in terms of development and deploying AI to mitigate bias inherent and data approaches. I'll just give some additional consideration. You need to mitigate job displacement. With these new technologies, lots of jobs will be lost, and you have to take that into consideration. Those who will lose their jobs, before they come to that point, as a government, what have you done for them? From skilling, reskilling, and find other opportunities for them. The privacy concerns, very important to implement strong data protection laws. In the sense, who collects the data? How do they store it? How do they share it? You have to set the guidelines and laws. Otherwise, you won't be able to protect people's privacy. And as I said earlier, you need to keep monitoring the process of these technologies and try to enhance periodically. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and I'm going to finish with you, Professor Mustafa. Technically, mathematically, academically, how can we ensure this fairness, this equality or equality, and also the inclusivity of everyone in the digital transformation?
I'm sorry I've took all the time.
No problem. It's totally fine. These were very valuable points. I'm going to disappoint you. Mathematically, we can't, and actually now and I'm going to explain why I'm saying we can't. So, of course, it is very important that we ensure that we design systems that are aligned with the values and behaviors that society desires and society believes are the most important. However, as I said before, context matters, and it matters a great deal. And I'm going to give you an example. Imagine we want to build an algorithm that we want to be fair. So that notion of fairness has several definitions. Two of the most common definitions, or three of the most common definitions within the AI community are what we call demographic parity, which means that if you design the machine learning algorithms, for example, to help you with recruitment, then the population that comes as outcomes for the recruitment process should be representative of the general population, right? So you should have the same probability for male and female, for example, right? So that's called demographic parity. Another definition is called equality of opportunity, and it has a long history in economy. In fact, There is a book whose title is Equality of Opportunity, authored by John Romer. And what equality of opportunity says is that the probability of someone being recruited based on the outcomes or predictions of that algorithm should be independent from what we call the protected attributes. So the fact that they're a male or a female, or they're black or white, or whatever you consider. And there is a third definition that is calibration, which is basically that the probabilities that you receive as outcome of these algorithms, that they are actually proper. They represent actual probabilities. They're well calibrated. Now, we can show now, mathematically, that you cannot have two of these three definitions satisfied at the same time. What does that mean? If I'm here in the UAE and I ask people which definition of fairness they prefer, they may prefer one of the definitions that fits best the local context, the culture, and the way society is organized here. If I'm in Senegal, where I'm from, well, if I ask which definition of fairness people prefer, then they may prefer a different definition from the one that people in the UAE prefer. Now, imagine I want to design and create an algorithm that is meant to serve the two populations at the same time. What would fairness mean in that context? Who would decide that? Context matters. Mm-hmm. It matters a great deal. We need to have the right protocols in place to be able to customize the algorithms so that they fit the local context. That's one important point. Mm-hmm. Now, one last point I want to make as well in this regard is, and it was alluded to by His Excellency, is a matter of transparency. It is important that we understand what these algorithms do. And as a scientist, I've spent the bulk of my career working on the algorithms themselves without caring too much about how to convey the reality of the way they work to the general population that will be the end users. Well, as much as I understand and agree with the importance of having algorithms that are transparent, I also believe that we should not stifle or slow the innovation by making it a hard requirement, because that would result in a more negative impact than just requiring the transparency itself. And let me explain this last point a bit. I know we are out of time, but it's important. So if we say today that every single algorithm that has to be put in production should first be fully transparent and explainable, then that would mean that some of the challenges only these algorithms are well positioned to solve will not be solved. We understood the fundamental rules of thermodynamics only after the 1920s, right? In the 1930s, the cycles of Brighton, of diesel, etc. Mm-hmm. But that didn't mean that we actually said we will not build cars. Cars were already there 50 years before. So it's important to create the sandboxes to allow for innovation to progress while we figure out how these algorithms work and put the right guardrails and regulatory frameworks in place to make them work. And I think some countries are doing this very well. I've seen some impressive sandbox frameworks at the government level in countries like Rwanda, for example. And I think there is a lot to learn from similar initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear esteemed panelists and speakers. Your Excellency, Dr. Amr Talat, Minister of Communication and Information Technology, Egypt. I would like to thank you as well, Your Excellency Engineer Majid Sultan Al-Masmar, Director General of TEDRA, Telecommunications and Digital Government Regulatory Authority. Thank you. And thank you so much, Professor Mustafa Sis, Professor of AI at the African Institute of Mathematical Sciences and founder and CEO of Kira Health platforms. Thank you very much for all of you,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for your time. I think.